What's going on YouTube? WestHobbiesRC. So today we are back with another SAB Raw 420 build, but this Raw 420 is going to be a little different. So we'll start with, we have a orange 420 kit. We are running the Theta Mini T1 tail servo and the Theta Mini Micro cyclic servos. So we have the 921As for cyclic. We have a V-bar telemetry cable. And then we have a bunch of parts here, and this is for the motor conversion. So this kit here gets rid of the direct drive motor, and the reason we are doing that on this build is because we wanted to build a monster 420, something with a lot of power and something different. Hobbywing 120 ESC and Xnova motor, but not any Xnova, the 3225 1100. So this motor is massive, and it's going to be a ton of power in this thing, so I'm excited. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's get started. So we have the main plate here with the upper part of our main shaft already installed. With the kit, you don't have to put that front bracket that goes here for the motor support, and you don't need the motor. We do need the tail pulley. So on this kit here, you're gonna get two little shims. You get one that's longer with no holes, with a hole, and one that's shorter with no holes. So I already got some one-way bearing grease on the shaft and in the one-way bearing. You're gonna take the shorter shim and you're gonna slide that up till it bottoms out. Then you're going to take your pulley with the screws and the tapered side facing up. And we're going to slide that on, wipe off that excess grease. Then we're going to take our secondary shim with the holes in it. We're going to line these holes up, get this shim slid into place just like that. And then we're going to make sure our holes lined up, take our tail pulley, slide it into place, lining up the holes, of course. Come back with your screw, 2.5 millimeter driver, Loctite on the screw, and screw that all the way down. After you get your screw in and tightened down, this is what you will have. Make sure your spacers are the shorter spacer top, then your pulley, and then the longer spacer with the bolt hole. And it'll look funny that there's a big gap here, but once the side frame goes on, that gap goes away. So now we can get our servos mounted. We got the servos on, got it looking like a main plate. Now, the thing with this kit is it uses a standard 380 motor mount, which has been machined and milled a little bit. This is the piece that adapts it and makes it all work together. So this style mount is going to go here, but in order to connect these two, that's what this is for. And you will notice this is keyed, and this fits down into here, and it gets screwed on with one screw in the middle. Your motor bolts here, and then these two holes that your original bottom plate that would go down would go to is where your screws, and then a lock nut goes into the backside here, and this whole assembly slides forward and backwards to tension the motor. I pulled the motor back off of the mount because I do need to cut and shorten this shaft. You can see the shaft is way too long, so you can see we have to take off that much. And also, for some reason, it doesn't have a flat spot. I don't know if Xnova forgot to put a flat spot in it or what, but it's perfectly round. So we're going to put a flat spot in it, shorten it down for our pulley to fit properly. We have it all the way down, cut it off at that mark right there. And then we also got the frame assembly completed, and we're going to use a plastic bag method to poke a hole, put the motor in the bag, so that way we don't get any shavings in the motor. Now we have the shaft sticking through. I just use masking tape and cover the shaft, cover the hole, making sure that the bag is completely sealed. That way we get no metal shavings in the motor. So I'm going to cut the shaft, grind the flat spot, and we'll see what it looks like. Shaft is cut down, flat spot is grinded. So now when we go to put our pulley on, we can line up our set screw with our flat spot there. We have adjustable range, and we can tighten it all the way down. So now we're going to get the motor put back on the motor mount and the mainframe assembly back into the mainframe itself. So we are assembling the head, and here is a tip that I have found when assembling the head. So you have all your thrust bearings laid out here. So you have your smaller ID, your thrust bearing, your larger ID, your main shim. And then there's these two little shims right here. And they come in the bag, which is 13-4. There's 4 of them. What I have found is if you add one shim per side to the head block before sliding your blade grips on, it gives you a much tighter head assembly. If you want it to be a little looser, then leave these two shims here out, put it together and see how you like it. I have found that one on each side is the perfect head tightness and dampening. So now we're going to get our head all put together. We got all of our thrust bearings greased up. So now let's get it all assembled. Got the motor done, mounted, belt tensioned. We got the head assembly all done, Loctited. Now we are going to make the servo arms from the servo to the swash plate, and we can continue moving on to the tail. We got our ESC mount, which just fits in between the frame sides. I think it's coming out pretty good. I'm excited to fly this one. Here is a little tip for you guys. If you have a hard time assembling your linkages, or you just don't like to assemble them because they can be a pain. So on these, there is a little insert there. If you look, this is a 0.9 millimeter driver into a drill on a low setting, very soft. Put your end of your threaded rod right onto your driver bit here, just like that. It fits in there. Then you can go on slow, drill all of your threads just till about halfway. And then that way, when you screw these together, they fit really nice, very simple. They turn in and out, and you don't have to worry about one side getting in farther than the other side because they will be perfectly matched. So just a simple little easy way to do it. Our tail is built. Just remember, when building your tail, after it is together, make sure everything is nice and smooth. There's no grittiness, no tight spots. That way you have a proper tail and you will not have any gain issues or chasing any issues with the setup of the tail. Got our tail boom on. Our belt is tensioned. Now make sure when you're tensioning your belt that your actual belt tensioner moves. You don't want this tail belt so tight that when you move the tensioner, the belt does not move, because then the tensioner is not doing its job. It is not tensioning. So our belt is done. So now we are going to get this thing finished up, throw the ESC on it, throw the FBL mount and antennas, and start wiring. We got it all wired up. Got our V-bar Evo mounted, tail push rod, everything is completed, and this is how I wired it. So you have to use the original ESC, one of the mounts, and then you get this little carbon fiber tray in the kit. And then of course the SAB XT60 mount. Our XT60 to our ESC, ran our wires along, tried to split them here. We got our telemetry going to that side of the V-bar, and then our junction going into the FBL unit. So I think it came out pretty good. I'm gonna get the blades on it, get the canopy on it, and we can see this thing finished up. Canopy is tossed on it. You can really see that Xnova doesn't have very much room. That 3225 is huge, but it does fit under the canopy. No need for cutting. Everything looks great. The conversion kit worked very well. The only thing that I did notice, which I still need to do, is depending on the size of your battery, you will hit on the inside of the skids right here. So I need to take some material off, but the battery will fit. Your XT60 fits down inside of here, just like that. So that works that way. The battery fits in there just barely, but it does fit very nicely. So there you guys go. The build of a Monster 420 with the traditional motor setup. You can see on the other side here how the motor wires look. You can barely see them. I think the wiring came out very well. Helicopter looks great. Your battery latch is down here now. So I'm excited to get a flight on this thing. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. Take care and have a great day.